Hello, everyone, and welcome back to some Traitors coverage here on RHAP. We are back with a Traitors Season 3 cast, and so excited to talk about it here with the man who holds down all our Traitors coverage here on RHAP. It's Pooya Zambakili. Pooya, how are you?
I am good, Rob. I am excited. I am pumped. I'm feeling all the emotions. A cast day is always a good day. You know, Big Brother is really giving us a good time when the cast drops. Traitors is pulling up. No different to me. It's a good vibe. I'm very excited to talk about this cast. And we're in for a good one, I think.
We're in for a good one here today. A lot to talk about here with this very exciting cast. And how exciting is this to talk to, I think maybe the number one person on the Traitors beat. Of course, she's always got the Traitors news and the coverage over on The Exclusive. It's Sharon Tharp. Sharon, how are you?
I'm great, Rob. Thank you for having me. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping you were going to show up, in a costume or something, but it's okay.
You know what? I got a haircut today. I'm like, I didn't spend $20 on a haircut to wear a beret, Sharon.
Okay, it's fine.
Thank you. We'll save that for in the season. And so, excited to talk about all this. So we're live. We could take some comments and questions from the chat here today. So very excited to talk about everything going on in the world of Traitors. So there had been some leaks, drips and drabs in the last couple of days about people who were there, some incorrect names, and we could talk about all that as the Traitors cast has just left. Sharon, do we know that the game is just starting?
I think it started either Monday or Tuesday, yes.
Okay. All right. So the game has kicked off. And so Traitors themselves, I think that this is very smart, Pooya, that not a lot of other shows officially will acknowledge the leaks. It's sort of like the leaks happen. We're talking about it in these Twitter streets. But I think that Traitors feels like the only show that really says, okay, this is our cast. We acknowledge.
I mean, that's the reality is if you don't acknowledge those leaks are going to get ahead of you already, and they're going to get all the pubs. So if you don't get in front of that and take over, you won't get that publicity or the recognition. They did this last year where the full cast got leaked, and then they put a little credit scene type thing with all the names. Because I think once you confirm it from your channel, that's where all the engagement's going to be, is your channel.
Just announce it. Are you listening, CBS? Okay, Survivor 50. Don't make us pretend it's not happening for a year after we all find out who goes. Okay, shout out Redmond in the chat. All right, so
love Redmond.
Yes, let's. I guess Sharon, anything else you want to set up before we get into the who's here?
No, I was just gonna say, there are people on set that I talked to that didn't even know the cast. They were told very last minute. So I think NBC is really, or Peacock is really tightening that up as they go. And then the other thing I was going to say is, and I'm sure you know, Rob, because you've heard, but there are a lot of leaks and there's a lot of misinformation, but it's also because this cast is usually finalized pretty late, contracts, schedules. And so it's not that shocking that some of the names were wrong, but now we got the full cast.
Who's holding out for more money, who's bluffing,
Right.
So I think that this probably is a fluid situation up until the point that they leave for this. And so we could talk about all that as it comes up. So we've organized a slideshow, and it is here by original show where applicable. And it looks like that maybe by alphabetical order, we have up first from the world of Big Brother. Big Brother. Okay, look who's here. Britney Haynes. Okay. This had been out on Twitter for a few days now, right, Sharon?
Yes. I think Britney was honestly the first name I heard, and that was back in February. And I think she's probably been a lock more or less the whole time. I spoke with her in January and she wanted to do the show. I think that was very clear. In fact, I told her, don't come on my podcast to talk about the Traitors if you're going on the Traitors. And she didn't answer that. So that gave me a little bit of a hint. But yes, okay. I'm very excited to see her.
All right. Britney Haynes is here. Any reaction to Britney Haynes?
I think number one on the ballot for me of which Big Brother players I want to see come back, or at least one of two, and we happen to get both, which I'm very excited about. I think obviously getting the, believe it or not, the reindeer games bump, I think is real. I think that was in a, it was a 1 week event. It was in a vacuum, but it reminds people of the greatness that some of these players are capable of. And I think Britney delivered there. So I'm very happy to see her here. If I remember correctly, last season, the cast of the Traitors season 2 did put out who they would like to see play. And Britney was on that list. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, was that Dan Giesling's only correct move last season?
Oh,
come on. Oh, yeah. It's too early in the podcast.
Too early.
Let's be honest. Too early.
Okay. Too early in the podcast. Okay. But I think that Britney Haynes is very fun to have here because I feel like that Sharon, I think that she almost has like a Kate Chastain type of energy in that. Like, I almost feel like that she would not be a good pick as a traitor. Like, her superpower here is being one of the faithful who is sort of like has disdain for the entire process of being on the Traitors.
Exactly. I think she's going to be we know she's going to be great in the confessionals, but she's also going to be that person at the round table, sort of lightning. I don't know about lightening the mood or just, I see that energy from her. And then obviously we'll talk about with Danielle.
Let's go to the other person here. And this was the surprise to me. A pleasant surprise for sure. My queen, Danielle Reyes, her and Dr. Will, my two all-time faves from Big Brother. And to see her here after we just got her on Reindeer Games. Now, I was trying to remember Reindeer Games and my brain was melting. Was there any kind of bad blood in the very dramatic episode in which Danielle went out on Reindeer Games between Danielle and Britney?
Yes. And I believe that there is still tension there as far as I know. By no means do I think they hate each other. Like, I hope they work together. But last I heard, unless I spoke to both of them, Britney, kind of didn't understand why Danielle was upset. Danielle was rightfully, I see both sides of it. So I think there will be tension. I hope they work together, but do they trust each other?
No. Sharon.
So within the first 20 minutes, we're going to have Lord Ivar take Danielle and Britney Haynes into a room and broker peace, and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Pooya, do you remember what happened? I remember there was the hamster wheel. I remember that they had to pick the order, but do you remember why that there was ultimately friction between Danielle and Britney?
No, if I'm being honest with you, how am I going to remember something that happened in December like that? But if I remember correctly, it had something to do with the fact that I think Britney didn't want to do
the chat will know.
Yeah, someone in the chat's going to immediately say it.
Britney had to choose the next person on the hamster wheel, and she chose Danielle and gave her not much time. But there was a lot of, I didn't also disagree with Britney. There was a lot of mechanics to it, and I think, there was just bad feelings about it, I guess. But.
Yeah, well, could you imagine Reindeer Games has ramifications going into the Traitors?
The Reindeer Games lore is real now.
Yes. Okay. I guess it was that Britney chose Danielle and there were other options that she could have chosen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Why did she choose Danielle? So, all right. So I have to go back and do a Reindeer Games rewatch before we get into this. All right. So very excited to have Danielle, one of the great game players that keep your eyes and ears open and your mouth shut. I think that she will be. I think she'd be great as a traitor. She also would be great as a faithful.
Yep, I see it both ways. I love to see her as a traitor though, because we'll talk about the cast, but I don't think this cast is going to know who she is, which is very dangerous.
Yep, she's so likable. She has so much charisma. So it would be super exciting to see her. Either way. So, okay. Inspired choice from the Traitors and everybody over. Good job, Alan, on that one. All right. Then, so that's it from Survivor, but we have from Big Brother, but we have a very big showing from Survivor here. Okay. Let's talk about some of our friends. And of course, this was reported widely that season 44's Carolyn Weiger is so. If Carolyn is in the Traitors, who's talking to Carson online? It doesn't make any sense.
Maybe she has her phone in the castle.
I saw she was playing Roblox yesterday. Who's using her Roblox account is what I want to know.
How is she posting by Carson's pillow if she's in Traitors? It doesn't make sense.
Rob, it's like a self alley-oop. It's like you threw the ball on the backboard and then dunked it.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. All right. So Carolyn on the Traitors. Sharon, What's your reaction to seeing this?
I was surprised, mostly because of they're not doing a recency bias, right? They're usually doing the opposite. They're getting these old school people,
classics,
which we'll talk about. But yeah, she was kind of like a wild card, and she is a wild card. She's a little chaotic. I think it'll be fun to have her in the mix because she's not necessarily always predictable. And yeah, but it was a surprise to me. But I had heard her name recently, so.
Well, and then the other intriguing thing here, as we have to look at this from a like global standpoint of all of the shows, that also we had the news of Survivor 50 is going to be all returnees. Carolyn, I think, would be on the very shortest of short lists of locks to come back for Survivor 50. And so I guess that if we're talking about locks, like how locked up is Carolyn in terms of competing in Survivor 50? Do you have any idea of what the contract entails of like once you do Traitors, how long are you locked up for?
That's a good question. I believe Janelle revealed that, as she usually does. I want to say it was 6 months, but it could be a year. But if we think about it, what Survivor films, it's filming later this year, right? It's filming now, so she might be okay.
Okay.
I think just about if it is a year, she'll be fine. But I also, I mean, this is someone I expected to see on my TV 100% for 50. Did not expect to see her this soon. I think will be very fun. I think will definitely contribute to a lot of fun roundtables. No world should Carolyn be a traitor. No world should that happen.
Yeah, but imagine if she was, where you're one of the other traitors, and then it's like a Carolyn. It's sort of like back in season 1, where that was it Christian. That was like, how do we work around this person who may potentially be giving up information? But also, we saw that Carolyn is crafty when she got the hidden immunity idol, and she put the X in the bird cage. And so I think that people sometimes sleep on Carolyn. And she's pretty resourceful when she needs to be. But I just do think that the biggest story here with Carolyn is that will Survivor 50, are they in any way sort of vindictive of, hey, you're supposed to be on Survivor 50. What are you going out there and doing the other shows? You certainly understand from Carolyn's perspective, probably, Sharon, I don't know exactly how this works, probably more guaranteed money to appear on the Traitors up front than when these returnees necessarily go back for Survivor. I don't think Survivor necessarily says, hey, come back, we'll give you some guaranteed money. Maybe for a couple of people, but for a lot of people, it's like, hey, we got a lot of other people we could call. Don't play hardball with us.
I don't even think it's close. Peacock pays way more. So
yes,
easily.
So, okay, very exciting. Here's Carolyn, one of many survivors. Here's one that was a little bit of a surprise. Here is Jeremy Collins.
So I'm into it.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite winners. He was my favorite winner for a long time until Jam Jam came along potentially. I was pumped, Rob. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I'm so happy.
My Survivor Fantasy Football group chat was going nuts today. Jeremy Collins is here, and Sharon, he's somebody that I think is probably like a sneaky pick to do very well.
Yeah, and I was wondering if he might be a traitor because he's so likable and lovable. And last year they leaned into Dan because he's more of a villain, and they wanted to see that play out. Whereas like Tony and Boston Rob, like would be more obvious traitors. Jeremy could be like a more sneaky traitor. I don't know. Could be fun.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about, we're very excited to see Jeremy, but I think that we end up having some issues to talk about with Jeremy. And who do you have next here coming up? All right. What are we doing?
What is this?
The many different faces of Rob Mariano. Okay, here he is from all the different shows. Yes, which 5 different versions of Boston Rob. Okay, Sharon, this is exciting.
Listen, I know people are divided. They don't love Rob, whatever, they're bored. I'm a Rob apologist. He entertains me.
Listen,
I thought he was fun on Deal or No Deal Island.
Yeah. Look, nobody could have, well, I guess a couple people could have, listen, if anyone's going to be salty, like, oh, do we have to see Boston Rob again? Boston Rob was incredible on Dondi. I guess you feel like he's taking somebody else's spot. That Rob is going to bring a lot of drama to the show. And this is great. We're eating here.
I agree. Totally agree.
he was always going to get a Traitors spot. It was just a matter of which season. Last
Yeah.
year, he was on the short list. He's here now. It was inevitable. So you got to like brace yourself. This is kind of one of those, you have to expect it to happen. Did I expect it to be on the same year as Dondi, like back to back? No.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't watch Dondi, so I'm not going to have the Boston Rob fatigue or anything.
Right.
So I'm going to come in fresh.
I would like to see him not be a traitor. He's so
Same.
obvious as a traitor. I would love to see him play as one of the faithful and have to work with everybody and have to try to figure this out. Like, I think that would be super. It was like last season, Sharon, that Dan was so obvious as to be a traitor. It had to happen. I feel like that Rob, as a traitor, I think he will be instantly caught if he is a traitor. I'd rather see him play the other way.
Yep. And we're talking about the Survivor guys. I'm sure there's going to be an alliance. They're not stupid. They know they have to team up together. I think also, though, I will say Rob is probably the most recognizable to like the Bravo people.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they are, I don't even know if they will know who he is, but he has been on TV the most recently, right? So I don't know.
Yep. But I don't know if they're watching Dondi so much or Celebrity Home Renovation. Maybe did he renovate any of this homes? Check that out.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then also from Survivor, oh my God, it's Tony. All right. So this is very interesting. Tony here with Rob. Okay. So when we had Tony and Carolyn. Okay, it's interesting. But Tony with Rob, Tony with Jeremy. This is where things get complicated. Okay. First off, Pooya, I do believe that Tony and Jeremy did not end Winners at War on the greatest of terms.
Did this have to do with the days of the week, Rob?
No, I don't think it had to do with the days of the week, but I think that Tony and Jeremy felt like that they had some kind of a working agreement. And I do think that Jeremy was not thrilled ultimately with the way that he ended up getting betrayed by Tony. Tony votes for Natalie. Now, of course, Natalie is a great friend of, but I feel like that Jeremy, after Winners at War, he wasn't really excited to talk about the season afterwards. Like, I just feel like that if you go back and watch that, like Jeremy didn't love the way that some of Tony's allies, specifically Ben and Sarah, were acting towards him. So I don't think that Tony and Jeremy are on the greatest of terms.
But Jeremy does like meat shields, right? So you got Boston Rob, you got Tony. I'd probably still stick with them for a bit.
It's great for Jeremy. Yeah, I think
sure,
Jeremy benefits greatly.
But I don't think that there's a implicit trust here with Tony and with Jeremy. Now, if we go back to the early days, and I don't remember the tribe names, but Rob and Jeremy, I do believe, worked together well on Survivor 40, that they were in the same alliance. Although, did Rob have something to do with ultimately voting out Natalie at the first vote? I think he did, but I do feel like that they ended up, I suspect that Rob and Jeremy are better allies than Jeremy and Tony.
And also, though, Rob did vote for Tony to win $1 million, so that helps.
Yeah. He didn't like that Natalie didn't make the fire ultimately. But, I think that, Jeremy and Rob probably also had, a little bit of time together after the game. And so they both are Boston guys, also Jeremy and Rob. So I think that there's probably a little bit more of a chance of an alliance with Rob and Jeremy than Jeremy and Tony. And I feel like that Rob and Tony, we've never seen them on the same beach together on Survivor. So that will be interesting to see what kind of like jockeying for position happens between them.
Like, the reality is, with the fact that like with Big Brother there's only 2 people, Survivor there's only 4 people. I think no matter what connection, what your relationship is, those are people you're gonna feel okay with to start, because there's a lot of other people you do not know. And I feel like there is relative safety in having people that you're familiar with stay with you for a while. I don't think it's going to immediately end up popping off in any way.
If I know Tony, he's going to get there and be like, oh my God, I don't even know what's going on. Like, he's going to, like, he's confused. He wants to hide behind Rob. Like, Rob doesn't hide. Rob doesn't like try to like pretend like he's not there. Tony will try to, he'll be hiding in the castle, trying to spy on people. So it will be fun. I don't know if Tony is going to be able to make it work this time around.
Yeah. Can we just really quickly talk about how Tony he's funny. He disappears for a few years and then just pops up on social media.
He hides. Surprise.
It's the hint.
Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that. It was going to be a big year for Tony. We'll see.
Big year.
But Sharon, so interesting. 4 Survivor people. I mean, from what did we have? I think only only 2 from Survivor or Big Brother, right? We never had even 3 from any of the CBS shows, and now we get 4 Survivors.
I suspect that they were all in casting and they were probably hoping to get 2 of them, and then 3 of them wanted it, and they were just like, well, they're all good. I don't know. Because I agree. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot. And then, but ultimately, there could have been more because that it had been then a lot of talking about Davey was in sequester. Do you have any sense of what happened there with Davey?
No, he was an alternate. He flew out, I think, a week and a half ago and was kind of on standby. And then he got his phone back, and I think everyone figured out that he's coming home and didn't make it to, so he was an alternate.
Yeah. But yeah, that would have been a lot of fun.
It would have been. Last time Davey was an alternate, he ended up on the show, and it was a good, memorable time. Unfortunately, this time is not the same. But hey, we can hold fingers crossed for the future. I would like to see that.
Okay. All right. Let's then go into the Bravo verse. Okay. All right. So let's go and see what do we have here on Bravo. Okay. All right. We have Chanel from the Real Housewives of Dubai.
My old stomping grounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Housewives is my one little bit weak spot, but I did talk to some friends, and also working at Us Weekly for so long, I know sort of the players. But from what I know about Chanel, very fiery, has a bit of a temper, but loves to make good TV. So
we stand.
That will be fun.
Yeah.
But what I was told that she might be someone that's just like, vote me out at some point. Like she might be over it. So not sure about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the gist. I don't know that much about Real Housewives of Dubai, but fun TV.
Does Real Housewives of Dubai air on Bravo in North America?
Yeah. It's one of their franchises. Yeah.
I didn't know.
It's one of the newer ones.
Yeah.
Like newish.
Okay.
The baby.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even know there was Real Housewives of Dubai, let alone Chanel. Okay.
It started in June of 2022. I will say we're about to get into, as Sharon described, some of our blind spots here potentially. I want to give everyone the heads up that before this podcast, what I did was I looked through the cast, you copy the name, threw it on YouTube, add a best moments, and every single person has a highlight reel. And I watched Chanel's highlight reel. Everything Sharon said is true. She's going to be fiery. She says she's allergic to BS. I think she's going to be someone who's going to be very much pushing back if you bring her name up, and she's not going to step down. But now that Sharon has said, she could also just be like, I don't need this. Get rid of me. I'm done. I could also see that happening. Multilingual and very much personality. I'm very excited.
Look, she's our queen now, okay? We may not know the Bravo. Yes. Please don't gatekeep the Bravo, okay? We're here. We can't wait to see what we get from some of the housewives, okay? All right. So we have Dolores from the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Yes, I'm a little more familiar with her. She's honestly great. I think she might be a fun traitor. She's more level-headed for a housewife, I would say. She's a bit of a peacemaker. Like, she is very close with Teresa Giudice, who hates her sister-in-law, Melissa Gorga, but she's friends with both and can kind of make that work. So we might be able to see her sort of be that peacemaker in the game. But she also might be a little bit underestimated. Like, I could see her being a good traitor.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do they call her Dolo?
I think some people do, yes.
Okay. My sister texted me earlier today. She said my sister doesn't watch Survivor, loves Bravo. She says 3 of her faves are here. Dolo, Dorinda, and Ciara.
Dolo, yeah. Well, so someone in the chat said this. So she was a prison guard before she was on the Housewives.
Okay.
So she's tough. She's a tough girl.
Okay.
All right.
Woman.
Dolores. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, okay, Dorinda, Real Housewives of New York. Now, I may not know Dorinda's resume, but I definitely know the name.
Have you seen the memes already? They're already started.
No.
There's some fun ones. Dorinda's known for like her catchphrases, so expect maybe some catchphrases, whether we want to hear them or not.
Can you give us any of Dorinda's catchphrases?
Not well, bitch.
Oh, hey, Sharon, don't come on the podcast and talk to me that way. All right, I don't appreciate that.
For a second, I was like, is that a catchphrase or just what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't.
You're supposed to be a professional.
I know. Sorry, but it is honestly, it's good. My friend has it on a mug.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, she likes
Love
to.
Catchphrases.
I think the audience has turned on her a little bit because she does get a little mean. She loves to insult people. She's what you would say is emotionally charged. But yeah, she might be like a Larsa, to be honest. I could see her being that role.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a bit of a.
Yeah. What'd you see, Pooya?
I got a bit of a crash course actually on Dorinda from Maggie. Maggie sent me a voice memo that I did get a transcript of. And basically the long and short of it was she's very excited for Dorinda, says Dorinda can be very cunning. Dorinda's probably one of her picks to end up being a fun traitor, is what she said.
Okay.
A bit of an OG in the scene, in the Housewives scene, but wasn't on the first 5 or 6 seasons, and then came on and kind of ended up in the golden era. She said she's going to be fun, but she also has a bit of some potential messy components to her. I do anticipate that once we're done this podcast, we're going to get given a lot of the backstory for some of these people that might not be good, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Nick Idanza was already talking the other day about some of these names. So we will, as we get towards the season, I'm sure we can do a deep dive into more of this stuff. Plenty of time to do like a cat. Please, should we start now of like do like a book club of like every week podcast on a different housewife?
Oh, believe me, we'd be learning, and I think people will be learning with us.
Sam, this is a good idea. Okay, a deep dive every week. All right, so like message all the podcasters, ask them who they want to do a book report for, and then we do a getting to know a housewife podcast every week. Oh, he says this is a good idea. Okay, good.
Oh wow.
All right. Tell me about Robin.
Okay, so Robin's a little bit of a head scratcher. She was fired earlier this year. So I hate to say she might be like last minute switch or something. I don't know. I just felt like
Killer
that was
queen. Is that what we say? Yeah.
Maybe.
But hold on. So why? Sharon, I don't understand this. How did she get fired from one show? Is it like that? Is there like a revolt to the other Real Housewives of Potomac? Vote her out, and then it's like, oh well, we still want to be in the Robin business.
No, it's not Andy Cohen specifically, but yeah, I think Bravo she didn't bring it, right? Like they want these housewives to bring it. That's why they show up to the Traitors and they're like making good TV. It's because they know how. I guess she wasn't. So I don't want to compare her to Sheree, but that's kind of the vibe I could see her being.
Is it true that Swagness Everpeen says in the chat she was fired for being boring?
Great name.
Essentially, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
more or less.
Maggie mentioned that basically right after she got fired, she gave all of the mess and the drama behind the paywall on a podcast. Yes. So she was not giving it on the season and then gave it all up behind the paywall off season, which I feel like is not fun. And again, why would you give her the green light? So I think, Sharon, you're onto something. I think this must have been a last second. Who will do it for scraps? Robin's in. All right, throw her in there.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah, we spent all our money on Boston Rob. Quick.
No, she did have money issues. Like there was a whole thing about
snap
that. So
wow.
Yeah.
Gonna be a good deep dive. Okay. All right. Then I got in the chats. They said, somebody please let Rob know it's
Sierra.
Sierra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love her, by the way.
Sierra.
Summer House. Love her. Sweet girl. Probably one of the most perfect people on Bravo.
Okay.
I don't know about her being on the cast. I feel like it was a Lindsay Hubbard casting that got dropped and maybe Sierra came in because Sierra is like anti-drama. Like she's such a cool, chill person, probably a really good ally. But she doesn't like bring the drama. Now, if you confront her, she will speak up for herself, but she's just not someone who just like, she's not messy. So I just wonder if it was supposed to be Lindsay Hubbard, who was rumored for season 2, and maybe, something happened there. Because it was a weird pick.
She held out?
I don't know. There's a lot going on with Lindsay right now. So, but yeah, I think Sierra will be. She's just a likable person. Like if I were in there, I'd want to be her ally because she's loyal. I can't see her being a traitor, to be honest.
Yes.
But
Will she be a good faithful? Like, do you think she'll pick up the game on the faithful side of things?
I think so. I think she's just gonna sort of get in a group and go with the group. I don't know how strategic. Again, we have on Summer House, we don't really see the strategy,
Yes.
so it's like hard to gauge. But yeah, I think she's just like a loyal, sort of sweet girl.
She are Burgalicious of the season, is what you're telling me.
Oh, I mean, listen, if Sierra can pick up the game and really, I would love to see that arc.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is she missing primo Summer House season by going to do the Traitors right now?
Good question. I don't think they pick up filming for a couple. Usually 4th of July is when they start filming, so I think she's good.
With Summer House, is it, Sharon, is it the same cast of people, kind of like a Jersey Shore type thing, or and then they just add 1 or 2 people here and there kind of thing?
Yeah, there's like a core of 3 or 4, and then they cycle through new people. But Sierra's been on the show for like, I want to say like 4 or 5 years at this point. Yeah, so she's been around.
Cool.
Okay. All right. Who else we got? Oh, Sandoval.
I have to go. Sorry, guys. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, stay, because you need to tell me, because I've heard nothing but negative things and I've not watched the show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, this man.
He cheated, Pooya.
Yeah, tell me what you know, Rob. I want to know.
That's what I know.
Okay, so, all right. That he was on a show called Vanderpump Rules, okay? It's about a restaurant. There's a woman named Lisa Vanderpump. She has a restaurant. I guess he worked at the restaurant, and he was married to somebody else.
No, fact check. No,
dating to somebody else?
He was in a long-term partnership for 9 years. Yes.
Okay, long-term partnership. And then he secretly was having an affair with somebody else that was on Vanderpump Rules. And then there has been a great re-examination of the events of the time that he was having the affair that was explored both on and off Vanderpump Rules. And now Tom Sandoval has been going through a series of reality shows, including World's Toughest Test, Special Forces : World's Toughest Test. And now is here as one of the Traitors.
And The Masked Singer. He was on The Masked Singer.
The Masked Singer, right.
God, was he on that show? Oh, God.
Yeah, he didn't make it far.
Yes. Some might say he's the ultimate traitor, Sharon.
Well, that's what I think. I think they're going to lean into that. Oh, he's the real life traitor. Like, let's see. To be honest, he's too dumb to be a traitor. So please don't make him a traitor. This man, I mean, listen, he did something really messed up, but the worst part was he doubled down on it and blamed his, the girls. So this man is like the most hated man in America. And I can't even see the Bravo people wanting to work with him.
Yes.
So like he's giving first boot, but
no, but make him a traitor because, I mean, Sharon, when he gets caught, like all the headlines will be like, oh, traitor caught again.
Yeah. And to be honest, I was thinking about this too. Like production wants him to stay around. They don't want another Johnny Bananas. So they might make him a traitor just to give him a little protection. I don't know.
Give him half off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll see. Big name. Okay. Understand why he's here. Okay. We have miscellaneous TV shows is a category. All right. Oh, Bob the Drag Queen, legend.
So pumped. So excited for Bob the Drag Queen.
Pooya, please tell me, because I was talking to Mike Bloom about Bob.
Bob is, first of all, Sharon, little known fact, Rob did a Drag Race pod once upon a time. and he did the premiere episode, and he picked his winner, and it was Bob the Drag Queen.
Sometimes you could just tell, Sharon.
Yeah.
Wow, impressive.
Bob is so much fun. Every time I see Bob content, I'm having a good time. Liana can speak nothing but positive things about Bob. Bob is also good friends with Monet Exchange. Monet Exchange loves these shows. I feel like the crash course is there. I'm pumped. I think Bob is gonna do great, and I can't wait to see it.
Yes. Okay. This is very exciting, Bob the Drag Queen, to have Bob here. I believe Bob also hosts the official Drag Race podcast, or at least it did at one point.
I know Bob has a podcast, but Bob has a podcast. But I don't know. But I do also know Bob got into Survivor during the pandemic. So Bob will know, Rob and all those people.
Okay. All right. Then, okay. So, and this is good that we establish Bob the drag queen. This makes sense here because sometimes you have two Bobs. You can't have like Boston Bob. You have Bob the drag queen and Bob H from The Biggest Loser.
This is a weird choice.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Question mark? Here's the thing. I've watched Biggest Loser back in the day when I was in Dubai because they chose what shows would be broadcast and you didn't really have much to pick from. And I would say out of the two trainers, Jillian's the one that left more of an impression as like a character. Bob was also there. I remember this. But I don't know anything about him and haven't heard from him in over a decade.
Yeah.
It's giving like last minute energy. Like, he hasn't been on TV in a while. I do distinctly remember him. Like, he had this heart attack, which was like all over the news many years ago because he was a trainer and everyone's like, how did he have a heart attack? So I remember that. But yeah, this is a strange one. This is like out of nowhere. I can't tell you the last time I watched
Connective Tissue. Richard Hatch was on The Biggest Loser. Maybe made some pregame alliances with the survivors.
Yeah, maybe. No, I don't see it.
Really threading a needle here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Bob Harper is here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This one's good.
All right. Good one. Chriselle Strauss selling Sunset.
She's a diehard Big Brother fan. Like, if you go through her tweets, she was live tweeting BB 14, 15, 16. I did a little digging, and she was a fan of Britney. So I can see that. I don't know if she knows Survivor, but she knows. And then, yeah, I'm interested to see. Maybe she can bridge the gap between Danielle and Britney. I'm not sure. Also,
a new peppermint. Yeah.
She was big into the Free Britney movement. So we'll get into someone else on the cast soon, but very big fan of Britney Spears.
Okay. All right. So here's Gabby from The Bachelor, Bachelorette. Okay. This was the fourth person my sister says is also one of her faves.
Yeah.
Did she say why?
Very lucky.
She did not. I will at some point do a deep dive with my sister and get to the bottom of some of this. But she says one of her favorite bachelorettes.
Yeah. And she was on Dancing with the Stars and finished second. And her partner was Val. And if you know, Val, his brother is Max. Not that Max did so much last season, but there is that connection. So maybe she called him up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's Gabby and she was the Bachelorette proper.
She was like a co-lead, which was weird. But they had two women doing it because they couldn't pick between them. So it's weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then also we have Nikki Bella, pro wrestler. Pooya?
Yeah, from the wrestling universe. Shout out to the Bella twins. Only one of them here though, no Brie. I'm intrigued. I will say I'm very familiar with Nikki, but not outside of wrestling. Not about her time during Total Diva. So I will end up looking at some of that stuff up before the season starts. But on the surface, I think I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah. Sharon, do you know anything about Nikki Bella?
Yeah, she dated John Cena for many years. She's many years.
Until he said, you can't see me?
No, until he said,
you can't see me.
Oh my God. But she's married to this guy, Artem, from Dancing with the Stars. So that's another Dancing with the Stars, Max Val connection. She's just very competitive. Like, I could see her just going for the shields and worried about the competitions. That's sort of the vibe I get from her.
Okay. A lot of wrestling going on Peacock, so kind of makes sense to tie in some of the WWE stuff on Peacock. Also a good way to promote the Traitors. So, all right, there's Nikki Bella. Okay, Wells Adams.
Wells, so that's the second Bachelor person. So him and Gabby will know each other. Very likable. He's married to Sarah Hyland, the actress.
That's what I know him as, Sarah Hyland's husband.
Yes. He was a bartender. He was on Bachelor. Then he was on Bachelor in Paradise. Then he was the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise. Now he's the host of Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh.
Everyone just likes him. He's one of those guys that like gives good advice. People talk to him, so I can see him just kind of. I don't know if he'd be a great traitor, to be honest. He'd probably be a good faithful, good ally, but nice guy. But yeah, and has a podcast with Miley Cyrus's sister or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then he had Ethan Zahn on his podcast, so he must know some Survivor.
Okay.
I don't know though.
So, all right. Wells Adams is here. Relatives. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We have Zac Efron's brother, Dylan Efron. Is Dylan Efron famous for anything besides being Zac Efron's brother?
No.
Yeah, they put his file on the wrong show. He was supposed to be on Claim to Fame this season, and then they ended up leaving him in here for some reason. This is so funny to me.
So bizarre. He was like in a documentary once, so I'm like, why? What's happening? He's also like just not into. I don't think this guy knows anything about pop culture. I could be wrong, but Zach's like that too, where like they just like to hike and work out. Like I don't think he's gonna know anyone on the cast. It could be like. Almost like a Ryan Lochte situation where he's like kind of like a deer in headlights. I don't know. I don't know much about this guy.
How does this happen, Sharon? Like who's pitching? It seems like it's so competitive. Davey can't even get on the show, but then somehow like you know who we do need? Zac Efron's brother.
Yeah, I mean, Pooya, you might not be wrong. Like they must be thinking about relatives of people, and maybe they got Britney Spears' ex, and they're like, you know what? Who else has like a random cousin or brother? I don't know. This is a weird one.
Who's a big name that we can put on the sheet without the big name being there?
Yeah.
Zac Efron's pretty huge. Let's put his brother on there.
Sharon, do you think that maybe this is some kind of like, universal politics of we're working on a project with Zac Efron? He's like, can you do anything for my brother? Is there anything? You got any Nepo spots for my brother? And they say like, we could throw him on the Traitors. Like, okay.
I never thought about that, but probably not. But you never know. You never know. Maybe he's trying to break into something. I have no idea.
See. All right, we'll see if we can get a hold of Zac Efron's agent and see what happened. Okay. All right. This is a person. His name is Lord Ivar Mountbatten, and he's King Charles's second cousin. And so, is he well known to any of our England-based listeners?
Redmond? Isn't Redmond in there?
Yes.
He also was the first royal to be in a same-sex marriage, so that was notable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they're going for the John spot here, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh, John was a huge success. Let's find another.
Was he a huge success?
I think his couple speeches he made ended up being pretty memorable.
Okay.
More so than I thought. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The bar was on the ground when he went on, and then it was like, oh, actually, you did a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess they're in the castle. I could see Alan like having fun with that. We need a lord. I can't. I don't do a good impression.
Rusty.
Yeah, it's rusty. But I guess sure. Lord Ivar Mountbatten. What do they call him for short? Lord Ivar.
I guess so.
Okay. All right. He's here.
Yeah.
All right. Sam Asghari, Britney Spears' ex/actor. We couldn't get Jason Alexander.
He was only a husband for
one.
like 48 hours.
Okay. All right. How recently was Sam Asghari with Britney Spears?
Within the last 2 years,
right? Yeah.
Yes.
I think they were married between 2022, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fun fact, Persian.
Yeah.
I feel like as a Persian, I have Persian radar. I feel like the Traitors has cast one every season. The other two were from Shaws of Sunset, which I was like, makes sense, TV show. This one, again, I think we're going for the name grab, if I'm being honest.
You stan Sam?
I don't know Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to research, but I think I'm not standing Sam.
I bet my wife hates him. Let me text her real quick.
Text Nicole.
Like, do we like Sam Asghari? Okay, and then I'm gonna tell her that that he's coming here to do an interview.
Okay.
We have some opportunity to.
You are a menace.
Okay. Do we like Sam Asghari? Okay. And then we'll see what Sharon. So what else do we know about him? Is he a nice guy?
It's hard to say. I think he just wants to be famous. I mean, he was trying to be a serious actor for a while. That wasn't working out. So I think this is like a paycheck that he might need.
Yeah.
He also we were talking about Dylan Efron. I think his agent probably called Peacock. I don't know. I could see that.
See, I know my wife. She says no. We're Team Britney. Okay.
Yeah. All the way.
Right.
Okay, we have to interview him. Okay. See what she says. But yeah, she was. I feel like that. If I recall, I feel like she was like very angry about anybody really in Britney Spears' life.
Can we just say, it's crazy that Tony Vlachos is now 1 degree of separation away from Britney Spears? Pretty wild.
It's weird. The Traitors brings weird things and makes weird things happen.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anybody else? That's it. Okay. Sharon, overall, what do you think? Could you give a grade to this Traitors cast?
I'm excited. I think there were a few names on the list that I was thinking that were left out, but there's always next season. There's probably gonna be more.
Let's talk about a little bit about nobody from the challenge last season. Such a big challenge presence between Johnny Bananas, that his first boot really hovered over the whole season, and then ultimately Trishelle and CT go on and win, and then we get nothing from the challenge.
Yeah, I feel like it's a mix of that, but also the contracts, right? Pooya, I feel like they're locked into. CBS just doesn't. CBS, they just don't want to give their talent away that easily, and I think someone like Johnny Bananas has the money for a lawyer to figure that out. But but we did hear Wes for a while. I don't know what happened there.
And what happened to that? Oh, if there's anybody we could bring back from season 2, we want to bring back Johnny Bananas.
I had heard that too. And hey guys, who knows? He might show up like a Kate Chastain mid-season. Yeah.
Oh snap! You're right. I hadn't thought of that. I mean, that would also guarantee him being in later in the game too. I think obviously right now the challenge is also in its own world, filming hella seasons. Back to the All Stars, you got the regular. I feel like some people may have just turned it down or not been asked. I think the other factor for me personally is. Actually, this is kind of far-fetched, but just go with me here. We're making up stuff.
We're vibing.
Yeah. I feel like the last season having had 2 winners, and the 2 winners both being from the challenge universe. If you're a challenge person, maybe you don't want that smoke. Maybe you're like, I don't want to use my one opportunity to be the first boot because they're going to remember the challenge person won. So that could also be a factor. But I feel like they would have. The challenge universe is pretty big. They could have found 2 people that would have said yes if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They would
easily.
Have said yes.
Yeah.
Easily.
Is it possible? Did Traitors not like what they got out of challenge people?
I doubted. CT was one of the biggest bits of comic relief the entire season.
It just seems odd that they didn't go back to that well at all, where it seemed like, okay, they're really uniting, but maybe they felt like that, okay, we have to have Survivor and Big Brother people, but then maybe is it that I kind of sense that they're anti the gamers. I feel like that they like the drama, but they, we have to have our Survivor and Big Brother people, but maybe the challenge people are where we're going over the edge of a critical mass of gamer people as opposed to just drama people.
Yeah, maybe someone was in the mix and then they got dropped. That's another possibility. Again, we keep talking about Rob, Tony, Jeremy, these are, I'm surprised all 3 of them are there. So I imagine that there were more people in the mix, and then for whatever reason, those guys got in and a challenge person didn't. I don't know. That was
okay.
Guessing.
Sharon, in your professional opinion, when do you think we will see this hit our streaming Peacock screens?
I mean, if it's the last few seasons, next January. If it's not, listen, they could totally have this out in the fall and then film another season, get that out, and do 2 seasons a year. But I have not heard that.
Yeah.
But I do find it interesting that they're filming right now. I think
it's interesting. And I do feel like that there could be whatever, issues with Alan Cummings' schedule, where if he only wants to film one, but Pooya, certainly possible we could be going to a Survivor 2 seasons a year for the Traitors.
I think that's very possible, and I think I'd be very, very down. I think the combination of the show just is still very new, still very fresh, and casting from so many different pools means you have an infinite amount of options and combinations you can put together. I think very much the season would thrive. The show would thrive with 2 seasons. I wouldn't be mad at it. I think Peacock would do well with it, without a doubt. This isn't The Masked Singer where we said do 1, stop doing 2. You have no one left to bring in, and yet we're still talking about it twice a year.
Yeah. Pooya, can you tell me, as somebody who's so tapped in on all of the Traitors, that how much overlap is there between the U.S. Traitors production team and then some of the international ones?
So I did hear you talking about this on the Ask Rob Anything podcast. What was it, a Monday? Good
Yes.
times, good
Yes.
podcast. So to my knowledge, all I know, because I haven't really digging that deep, is that with the UK and US, there is a level of simpatico in that it's the same castle they're using. They record back-to-back seasons there. I think that there's definitely a shared team for that. But obviously, they don't lend Fergus to the UK. That's for US only, baby. Fergus ain't going nowhere else but next to Alan. But other than that, no, I think there's definitely, it's definitely a lot of the same crew.
Okay.
Sure.
And yeah, Mikey in the chat says Peacock has the Olympics. They're not going to dump any big shows on during the summer. When are the Olympics? Late July, August?
July, August, right? It's like a month usually, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess there's a possibility of like post-August, like hey, don't unsubscribe from Peacock now.
I could see it, like a September, October joint or something.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll see. All right. Well, Sharon, thank you for making some time to talk with us about this cast. Of course, Sharon has the exclusive pod. How do people hear what you're saying there?
Well, you can follow at exclusively pod on all platforms. And yeah, I'm ramping up for Big Brother. I'm excited for BB26. We're only like, a little over a month out. And I'll be covering all of that. It'll be fun.
Yeah, so Sam is saying the Olympic dates are the 26th to August 11th. It does seem like that there is shorter? A window. I think it's like two weeks. But it does feel like that there's a window of like September when they could potentially do this and then have more Traitors. If not the first week in January, at some point like January, February.
I'm curious if they do that, if they would film the second season, like film another season in September like they did last year. Which I have no idea, but if that does happen, we'll probably start hearing rumblings at the end of the summer.
Okay.
Because the UK was recorded first, then the US recorded for those other seasons?
Yes, but I don't know if the UK recorded yet.
I don't think they have. I don't think
so either. So that's interesting. And that's a huge show over there, so I doubt it's canceled. So
maybe it's a sandwich sitch where they're recording one, then UK, then US comes back for their second one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Pooya, what else is coming up for you?
Well, Rob, I've been busy. I've been busy with my podcasting on the road to BB26, which hasn't started yet. But speaking of Traitors, if y'all are, excited, this Traitors news has got you jonesing. Obviously, Peacock has all the UK seasons. It has Canada, US, New Zealand. Like, you are fed there. Australia, check those out. Myself and Annabelle from Traitors Australia talked about Traitors Quebec, Rob. It was a lot of fun. We've talked about the first 7 episodes. I greatly enjoyed it. I definitely recommend it to those of you that have not checked that out. And then other than that, I'm talking 90 Day Fiancé on a weekly basis alongside Rob's passion project that he brought onto the network, MILF Manor, every week. Yeah,
Sharon, were you surprised that nobody from MILF Manor was brought to the Traitors Castle?
I forgot that was still on, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sad about 90 Day Fiancé, though. No one from there.
There's a couple they could put in there. I mean, House of Villains has been finding a couple. Imagine Gino would sweat his way out of the castle so quickly. One accusation, buddy.
I don't think Alan would want his hats in the castle.
Yeah, imagine like you have to take your hat off of the round table. It's like, all right, I'm leaving the castle. I self-evict.
Yeah. Okay. We've got a very fun project going on here on RHAP as we talk about Survivor 50 and some of these people that are playing Survivor in the playing the Traitors right now from Survivor. We are talking about many of their journeys through Survivor history as we have one podcast every weekday as Mike Bloom is hosting our Survivor Wishlist podcast, where every day we're talking about a new season of Survivor. We're going to go 1 through 46 every weekday. Today, Mike Bloom talked about who do we want to see back from Survivor Africa with Jason Reed. You can listen to that podcast in our Survivor podcast feed, or every morning you can watch it here on our YouTube channel. It's a very fun series, and Mike's doing a great job. Be sure to check that out. And later on tonight, we will have our Summer of Survivor continued every Wednesday night. Mike Bloom, Shannon Gus, and myself are talking about a different Survivor topic tonight. We are casting a Survivor season called Moms versus Mothers. Sharon, who will be cast on this Survivor season? Moms versus Mothers.
Wow.
Carolyn?
Okay. Carolyn's a mother, right?
Yeah, she's also a mom. So
both. She's both. I'm into it.
All right, so we'll talk about that. So make sure you're subscribed both to our podcast feeds at robbinswebsite.com/subscribe, or hit that subscribe button if you're watching us here live on YouTube. We'd love to get your comments as well. So please comment away on the video and let us know what you think about what we're doing here on RHAP. Thank you for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.